Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Atika binti Adnan, the first presenter from our group 12. The title of our group is The Negative Effect of COVID-19 on Education Performance and the Case of Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad. Next is research title by Chapter 1, Chapter 2 and Chapter 3.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Aida binti Cik Johar, matric number A1AA0517. I will present about background of the study. The COVID-19 pandemic has had negative effect on various sectors, including education sector, such as on education performance. Education performance is the outcome of education. It is the extent to which a student, teacher, or institution has achieved their education goals. Thus, performance is characterized by performance or tests associated with the coursework and the performance of the student on other type of examination. The purpose of this study is to examine the negative effects that happen and affect the education performance at Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad.
Next is external problem. Pandemic is one of challenge and a negative effects in education performance. Second is quite difficult to carry out the level of education performance, and all above affected in a lack of the focus in education performance.
Then research objective. The first research objective is to determine nature of negative effect exists at Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad. The second is to identify level of educational performance at Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad. And the third research objective is to examine the relationship between negative effects and educational performance at Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad.
For the research question part, we have 3 research questions. Firstly, what are the nature of negative effects exist at the Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad? Second, what the level of education performance at Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad? And third, is there a exist relationship between negative effects and education performance at Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad? For the hypothesis part, we have 3 hypotheses. Firstly, there is a positive and significant relationship between negative effects and profit margin of the education performance of the Little Khalid. Second, there is a positive and significant relationship between negative effects and return investment of education performance of Little Khalid. And finally, control for the size of an organization run by an organization. There is a positive and significant relationship between negative effects and education performance at a Little Khalid. For the significance of the study, firstly, to extract lesson of the research issue which have the potential to affect the education and education performance. Second, to develop education pattern to improve education performance during COVID-19 in all Little Khalid Terengganu, Malaysia.
Next slide is limitation of study. There are 3 points. First is focus on negative effect of COVID-19 on education performance by the Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad, Terengganu, Malaysia. 2. Conduct the study the negative effect of COVID-19 on education performance by Little Khalid International Sendian Berhad. 3 is the list of data to be used as a reference source.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nibah Muhammad bin Abdul Rahman. Today I would like to present about the negative effects. Due to COVID-19 is the hitting as change cause various sectors to suffer, even in education sectors. Therefore, to find the negative effect of the COVID-19, we choose to examine the Little Khalid company which offer early childhood education. As we know, COVID-19 give many negative effects. The negative effect caused by COVID-19 is education provide the student teachers are not able to carry out tasks as before. Next, the effect is in terms of transfer facilities. This happens because online learning cannot be fully focused on student because students do not have a fast internet network at home. Next part is in terms of education or performance. Because of the COVID-19, learning activities are done entirely online. But education performance is low because time management is low. Will take time to adapt a learning to a new norm. Education. Next is a lack of skill. This is happen because teaching staff do not have experience related to the online learning. This is because usually teaching staff learning activities done to face-to-face activity only.
Hello, my name is Abdul bin Muhammad Arif. My metric number A1880004. So I will present about chapter summary in chapter 1. So in this chapter, research method generalized and established way of the approaching research question. Research method divide into qualitative and quantitative approaches and involves the specific study activity of collecting and analyze research data in order to answer the particular research question.
After that, literature review. First is negative affect, which means a broad concept that can be summarized as feeling of emotional distress. Then educational performance at little calibers, which is achievement obtained based on the objective of an organization. The objective of little calibers international Sdn Bhd are: first is 99% of their overall students have basic knowledge about Islam at young children. Second is percentage of academic staff with more experience and professional. The third is ratio of teacher to full-time student is 1:5 by 2020. And the fourth is produce 100 academically and Islamic study balanced student. And the last is produce a wonderful and effective learning experience using best practices in early childhood education. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, so the next is DV. So my DV is a negative effect. So the concept that can be summarized as a feeling of emotional distress from Watson, Crow and Trojan 1988. It is a construct that is defined by common variance between anxiety, sadness, fear, guilt, and shame, irritability, and other unplaced emotional.
My name is Muhammad bin Abdul Rahman, and today I would like to present about education performance. Education or academic performance is the outcome of introduction education. The extent to which a student, teacher, or institution has achieved their education goals. Usually, education institution measure students' success to academic performance. For highest education, academic performance is determined by CGPA or GPA reports. Not only that, academic performance included achievement outside the classroom. For example, the student have a variety skill, have an advantage to get good jobs and good university.
For the return investment, we have developed 5 return investment in order to measure how far it has achieved its mission and vision. Firstly, 99% of their overall students have basic knowledge about Islam at a young age. Second, percentage of academic staff with more experience and professional. Ratio of teacher to full-time student is 1:5. 4. Produce 100% and Islamic study balanced student. Finally, for this a wonderful and effective learning experience using best practice in your childhood education.
Next slide is conceptual framework. The title used is a conceptual framework on a negative effect of COVID-19 on education performance at Little Khalif International Neighborhood. There are three variables we are used. First is independent variable, is a negative effect. Second is moderating variable, which is organization size, and third is a dependent variable, which is education performance.
For the relationship between negative effects and education performance, there is a positive and significant relationship between negative effects and education performance at Little Khalif International Sdn Bhd.
Okay, so this for the chapter 2 summary. So the scientific method is a scientific method of investigation, elevation, experimentation, interpretation, and theorizing. It is characterized by critical discrimination, general and system, and empirical verification. Okay.
Finally, we go to the chapter 3. Firstly, is methodology. Next is research design. The research is utilizing descriptive correlation research design.
Hello, so I will present about three parts. So the first is a sampling frame, a list of managerial level as representative of Little Khalif International Sdn Bhd store will be from Terengganu, located in Malaysia. So the second part is population. So all managerial level as representative of Little Khalif International Neighborhood in Terengganu, Malaysia. So the last from my part is a sample, about 10% as a sample will be extract from all managerial level. A management level of employer or the administration official will be representation of the organization. That's all for me. Thank you. Okay, so for this part is a sampling technique. The sampling method used in this study is non-probability sampling technique, which is the convenience of the sample. Uncaterating is a sampling technique where the researcher select a sample based on the subjective assessment of the researcher rather than random. Okay, so for this part is a sampling sample size. Okay, sample size. Research to determine the number of adjectives included in the sample size. Main focus of this study is to see impact of education performance on the organization of the Little Khalif.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Imam Muhammad bin Abdul Rahman. Today I would like to present about a unit of analysis. Unit of analysis is a specific unit that calculates as the subject of research. For get a unit of analysis, we use a questionnaire method by giving a questionnaire to the Little Khalif organization. We give a questionnaire to Little Khalif organization in the Gambadak Little Khalif organization in the area Gambadak, Kuala Terengganu.
For the instrument part, we have three sections. First section is A, negative effects, based on perspective and assessment. Section B is education performance, and section C, profile of respondent.
The second is validity and stability of instrument. Validity and ability are concepts used to evaluate the quality of research. Validity is about accuracy of measure, and reliability is about the contingency of measure. First point is for content validity. For content validity, accountability is about the measure for evaluate about the little calips and negative effect of education performance. Next is face validity. For face validity, we are confident that instrument is measuring and that the proposed to be a measure by panel of experts in free school education. And third is testability. For testability, we are repeat the question to identify whether it get the same data or not. For lastly is internal contingency. For internal contingency, we do retest on the little calips management for to get about the data of impact of the COVID-19. That's all for me, and thank you.
Next is data collection procedure. First, we are using a quantitative data method. We also use questionnaire to get the information and use the primary source. Next is plan for data analysis. Research objective 1, we use the descriptive statistics. Research objective 2, we also use a descriptive statistic. And for research objective 3, we use a multiply linear regression.
Okay, so for the lastly is summary chapter 3. Discuss a brief overview about research design that is intended to cover the basic of designing and implementing a scientific study. Although this course will address every step of the research process, it is by no means exhaustive and is not suitable for a college level course in research methodology. No, it is suitable for experienced research advisor. That's all for me. Thank you.